especially when others are hurt by it. 7. Accepting bribes. 8. Receiving stolen goods while knowing them to be stolen. 9. Not restoring what has been unjustly taken or what has been lent to us. 10. Not paying just wages within a reasonable time. 11. Not taking reasonable pains to seek the owner of things found. 12. Passing bad money in payment. 13. Forging signatures to checks, etc. 14. Using false weights and measures. 15. Adulteration of goods and any other form of cheating in business. 16. Dishonest statements in insurance contracts. 17. Usury or exorbitant interest. 18. Willfully damaging property. 19. Wasting time at work. 20. Unlawful strikes. 21. Refusal to pay rent. 22. Not paying debts. 23. Gambling away family savings. 24. Cheating on exams in school. 25. Plagiarism. 26. Violation of copyright laws in the reproduction of magazine articles, books, videos, audio cassettes, movies, computer software, etc. Restitution. We are bound to restore ill-gotten goods if we are able, or else our sin will not be forgiven. When the theft was a mortal sin, neglect of restitution is also a mortal sin. The obligation is binding until it is fulfilled, and the greater the willful delay, the greater is the sin. Restitution must be made to the owner, if possible, or to his heirs, if he be dead. If neither is possible, it should be given in alms in the name of the owner. Not only must the stolen property be returned, but also the loss resulting from the thief's actual injustice must be made good. If it is physically or morally impossible for us to make restitution, the obligation ceases to bind us. But, apart from such cases, the sin of theft is not really repented of until restitution has been made, and so it cannot be forgiven. The 10th commandment forbids all envious and covetous thoughts about and unjust desires for our neighbor's goods and profits. By this commandment, God wants to protect us against the evil inclinations of our own hearts, and to blunt the sting of the unlawful desires which make us yearn for things that belong to others. The gravity of theft. Is theft a grievous sin? This depends on 3 things. 1. The value of the thing stolen. 2. The person or corporate body, e.g. a business, suffering the injustice. 3. The time over which the theft is spread. The value of the property stolen may be absolutely grave or relatively grave. By absolutely grave value, we understand an amount sufficient in itself to constitute matter for a mortal sin, regardless of the relatively great wealth of the person from whom the goods are stolen. There is obviously an objectively grave degree of injustice which, when committed, involves a grave violation of public order. The amount of property necessary to commit such an objectively grave injustice is the absolutely grave value which makes theft a mortal sin. Moral theologians are united in fixing this sum as the equivalent of the weekly wages earned by a person of the middle class of society. Thus, if that amount is stolen from, say, a large store, it would still be a grave sin unless there is some other mitigating factor. B. By relatively grave value, we understand an amount so great that its theft would prove a notable loss to the particular owner in question. We think now not of society at large, but of the individual victim. Theologians fix this amount as the average day's pay of the victim of the injustice. The person or corporate entity against whom the theft is committed. If the victim is a business or a very wealthy person, the gravity of the theft would be measured according to the absolutely grave sum. If the victim is an individual and is not very wealthy, then the gravity is measured by the relatively grave sum of the victim's average day's pay. To steal from one's parents is ordinarily not so grave as unjustly to take the same amount from a total stranger. The time over which the theft is spread. If the money is stolen at intervals, it does not usually harm the victim so much as if the same amount were taken all at once. Hence, in order to constitute grave matter, thefts performed at intervals would have to fulfill the following conditions. A. If the thief has the intention to accumulate a large sum by such thefts, in this case, even the first theft is a grave sin. B. If frequently repeated, thefts automatically add up to make the